Alright guys, here's what we're gonna do. So, trying to finish the final, I guess you could say, alignment prep before it actually gets the real drift alignment. I'm gonna have to go get the jack, probably the stands. Still need to get a battery for this car, but now that this car has the angle kit, the camber arms, it's funny too because this side was better before and then it's still a little too close. I mean, obviously I know this side was way worse and I fixed this side a little bit, so final adjustments. That way it'll be drivable when I put a battery in it, and at least until I can get it to an alignment shop and then get some drifty going, you know what I'm saying? I'll show you guys everything in just a second. Alright, wheels off. A couple tools that we're going to need are going to be like coilover adjustment for raising the ride height. You always need an adjustable when you're going to adjust any type of camber or toe or anything like that. So if you guys have seen any of my previous videos, you guys would have known that for some reason the front, when I first lowered everything on the coils, like I had to slam it on the coils and it didn't go anywhere. I mean, obviously I left this little portion in there for the sway bar link, even though I don't have the sway bar hooked up, just in case, right? And the main thing for some reason was because there was no camber on the car, so it must have had either a little bit of positive camber or it must have been just like even, right? Zero camber. So it never applied the actual lowering of the ride height on this coil. So it was, you know, maybe a 2-inch gap, maybe a little less. Once I finally put these wheels and these tires for the front, which is you guys might blast me on this a little bit, but the front wheels and tires, I mean the wheels are all the same, 8.5 by 18, but the front tires, I mean these happen to be newer. They were 235s. I decided to put them in the front because I'd rather my burner tires be in the rear. I'd kill these eventually anyways before I go to the track or something. Either way, I didn't want any type of rubbing in the rear, but I definitely didn't want any type of rubbing in the front since we're going to be steering with that. So today we're going to raise this a little bit. I've already added the Godspeed camber arm, made my adjustments enough towards where everything was straight. Also have the Unicorn Racing design angle kit on there, and at first I was able to apply a ridiculous amount of toe and camber earlier, so like I was able to actually space this out enough for a nice amount of angle. But the problem was, since I don't have the I think it's a SPL arm, I think they have is the adjustable arm. I have the M3 thrust arm. There's only a certain amount of length you can get out of there, so basically where it's at. So right now everything's kind of like loose but ready to get tightened once I, you know, finish all this up. But I had to loosen everything up so I could actually move the wheel back, because actually I didn't make a video of this, but when I put in the control arms for the Godspeed control arms for the camber and everything, I had way too much, I think I was mentioning it earlier, way too much of the wheel going towards the bumper fender area. So that's why I'm raising it and needing to make any type of adjustments before I end up finally going to the alignment shop. That way you can at least drive there. Another thing I want to do, I guess you guys can see, I don't really have like the support bumper type shit that is here. So I'm actually finally ready to get rid of the fender liner in the front. Eventually I'll have to get rid of it in the rear too, but you know, any type of drift prep, or if you're prepping to do any type of track or anything like that, I mean, it is good to have these on something that you might daily, but something that you're gonna try to track more often than you actually drive it on the street, remove all this, because more than likely it's gonna cause you to rub, whether it's gonna be from ride height issues or whatever it may be, tire fitment issues, anything like that. Getting rid of this fender liner, either in the front or the rear or both, will help so much, especially since we low boys like to leave the cars pretty low. So like I said, I'm probably only gonna raise the vehicle just a little bit. I'm gonna remove this fender liner and hope that these bad boys don't rub. And if they do, then my very smart self is gonna have to do this again, which will be fun. But still, at least at this point, I'll know how much I'll need. So what I'm hoping I do is I raise maybe ½ an inch out of this. So I'm gonna do a couple threads on the coil up on both sides, remove the fender liner. Another thing I really wanted to get rid of, because those of you that might get into getting the Unicorn Racing Design angle kit, this hits against the rotor guards. Not really much you can do besides remove them, because or else you're gonna get a nice scrape. At one point when I was doing the differential and putting everything back together, I had the rotor guards in the rear were too close to touching, but now I've also noticed that no matter what, I mean, I've bent them a good amount, but no matter what, you're more than likely gonna have your rotor guards scraping, so remove them in the front and the rear if you're gonna do any type of drifting. So any type of drifting, remove fender liner and rotor guards. Hopefully you don't have a very rocky area, because you don't want any rocks getting into your calipers and such. So let's get started with that. I know I was doing a lot of talking just now, but probably by the next portion of this video, all this stuff will be removed, the height will be changed, I'll get ready to put the wheels back on, and we'll see how the car looks. I really would like a lot more negative camber, but like I said, I can only do as much adjustment as the length of the thrust arm, so can't really do too much. But I did apply a good amount of negative camber. I should put probably at least -3 degrees. I'm hoping whenever I do bring it to the alignment shop, it'll be pretty close to what I'm at least trying for. I know maybe a little toe out, maybe ½ a degree of toe out, positive toe, but if I can keep it around 0, that would be great too. And then for the rear, I'm just gonna keep it basically as stock as possible. If adjustment is possible in the rear, a little bit of rear camber and very small amount of negative toe. All right, let's get to it. All right, made our adjustments. She's back on the ground, and the adjustments were worthwhile, especially getting rid of the fender liner. It may not look like a lot on this side, but that's because this is the side that's kind of leaning like this. It'd actually be a better picture for this side because they are pretty much the same measurements and everything. Again, the wheel is still a little too far forward. Once I get the alignment, everything should be fine, because it's that torque arm. Everything, once it gets pushed back just a little bit and the right amount of camber and the right amount of toe, everything should be sitting well. If not, I might have to figure out some fitment for the bumper, since it's only just like zip tied and a couple bolts together. But yeah, so got rid of the fender liner. This side had an impact, I think, at one point. That's why it's all rusted up, but shouldn't rub against anything except for maybe right here in the bumper. Can't really tell too much, but definitely does have some camber to it. There was another thing that I added to it. I don't know if I got that on video or anything, but I ended up putting a coolant temp sensor. Now I know there's already one right there, but it's really annoying to get to the settings to get to that. And some people do like a conversion where they could put like an MPT fitting or whatever it is attached to that to a sensor. I was lazy and I just used whatever I had like on hand, and I think this was like a $20 gauge with the sensor and everything, so I ended up just using some lines I had together, Teflon, put them all together and hooked it up to the overflow. So it's probably not going to be accurate until it gets to temperature basically, but that's kind of what I want anyways, because when I'm at the track I want to be able to at least kind of see what the temperatures will be when it starts to get hot. Right now all the wiring looks like shit, but I mean, I was just trying to figure out, but it does look decent in there. Once I get it all cleaned up, I'll probably still have like one ugly wire going through here. I don't know, but yeah, it doesn't really matter too much since this is just a play with car, and that's mainly for the track. But like you guys can see, it's probably a better angle right here. You could definitely see a little bit of camber adjustment right there. I think the steering wheel is slightly turned. You might not be able to see it much here. Swap it all over. You see it a little bit there, not much. Again, the height looks a little weird because the angle of the car and how it's sitting and everything. But we should be getting some good angle, some good camber. We should be able to read temps. I think it's just about there. Diff's welded, everything's in. Car runs in, drives fine. I want to get rid of those rotor guards, and I'm thinking about when I go into the rear end, I'm going to get rid of those fender liners too. Whatever I can get rid of so I don't have as much rubbing or anything like that. I haven't had any rubbing in the rear ever since I changed the wheels, and everything's been actually pretty solid until I had the camber arms, obviously, and I need that alignment. I did the best I could with eye alignment, but I think the car is nearly ready. We're, I guess you could say, one more step closer. Hope you guys enjoyed this content. I'm going to be releasing some more stuff. You'll have some pictures in there too, probably before this part, obviously, because this is like the end of the video, but should be a good little update for the channel. Catch you guys the next time. Hopefully I'll be sliding soon. Also, I guess a little side note, I've been trying my hardest to get Homestead Raceway to be able to have a drift event there. And if things work out, I've been talking to a few people, and I'm not going to really speak of any names or anything like that, but there may be an event possibly next year if we're lucky. I should be hearing from somebody today, and this will be a public event. It wouldn't be me hosting it. I'm not going to take any credit for that, but I will say that I did the best I could to be the middleman to make it happen. Alright, hopefully the next update will be a little bit sooner. We'll have a few more things going on, and the car will be aligned by then. You guys have a great day. Bye.